This meeting of the Dare County Board of Elections is called to order at 1:07 PM. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. And I have lost my agenda. All right, we don't have any old business, do we? Okay. New business. Has everyone had a chance to look over this agenda? And if so, the chair will entertain a motion to approve it as presented.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right.
Before you take your vote, if I could just say that even though the name of this meeting is counting of provisionals and supplemental absentees are not on the agenda because we don't have them.
Okay. Should we change the name of the meeting title?
No,
We should
because-
just say that they're not.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. And it should be noted that while we would consider supplemental absentee ballots if we had received any, we have not received any. So we will not be considering them today. All right. Provisional ballot review and scanning. Let's start with the 16 that are recommended for approval. Does everyone have their highlighted list? And I assume that you all have looked over the numbered memos that have to do with what we must attend to today. All right.
So Dare County received 54, or Dare County had 54 provisional ballots that were completed between early voting. This is between early voting and election day. And through research, I have 16 that I am recommending for approval throughout the various categories. So I've highlighted them on a spreadsheet for you here. So we can go over them individually still. So the first set would be 5 under the category or provisional voting reason of driver's license, social security number needed. So these were voters who were flagged because they didn't have that ID information on their record. So they were flagged needing to vote provisional and to provide that information. And the guidance is if they did provide it and it then you would, and it validated, which it has, you would count those. You would count these. So.
And they are the ones who received the letter last summer. Is that correct?
Correct.
The first batch?
Yes,
Okay.
this is the first group, and there's 5 of those. I still did research and made documentation. Do you want to start at one end? Do you want to split these up?
Let's just start. We'll start with John on this.
Okay.
So are we saying that the information has been provided to the Board of Elections for the missing?
Correct. You'll see that it has been provided on the application form. Does it print out on that form? I can't remember.
It does. So so the back of the envelope has the chief judge's notations, if any, and some information from the precinct. And then the bottom gray area of the envelope has my research and notes. On the front, sealed in the plastic sleeve, is the provisional application that was reviewed and signed by the voter and the chief judge at the time of voting at the precinct or early voting site. And on that, and the top half left, you'll see date of birth, driver's license, and last four of the social are completed, at least a portion, the required portion of that. And I made notes in the system, but there's two different comment boxes. And so you have to be careful because what you put can go out to the public. So I wrote pretty much the same thing that I put in the system on the envelopes. There was just a couple that I made notation for you to see on the paper. So I thought they were a little more important. But if you have trouble reading or if you have any questions about what I noted on any of these, just let me know.
Well, this prints because this is, no, this printed when they actually did the provisional. So this is there. It just shows this is the document that they showed. This does not, here's the driver's license number. Here's the last four. This is just telling you what they showed. Right. Because you check a box when you're preparing the application. And that application prints out with all the information that was input by the chief.
Right, so where they are flagged or providing their driver's license, if they provide the driver's license, then the data is updated in the system.
I don't understand your question. Right.
Right, it says this is not available. Then it appears here.
Yeah. That's why they came up on why they had to do the provisional, because this is their provisional reason.
So some of the things you're going to
Did not
find,
have that information
yeah,
before.
and sometimes you'll find that I've made a different determination than what the chief judge may have made or selected. Sometimes there is a discrepancy through research. So you may find that
But
as
what
well.
I'm confused about is on the front of the envelope, it says driver's license, social security number required.
Mhm.
Then on the back in the printed application, the North Carolina driver's license and 4 digits of the social security number appear on the printed form.
Yes, because the worker typed it in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just showing why this is the
That's
reason
the
that they
reason
had
why
to
they
vote
had,
provisionally.
because
we didn't
prior
have it.
to, that was the reason why they were flagged. But the worker typed that in.
Which means that information is now in the
Correct.
SEAM system.
Not yet, but it will be once you approve them. But yes, that was the whole reason why they were flagged for provisional.
These are
because
the
they
ones that
didn't
were
Provided.
contacted last summer, part of registration repair, these. So they registered but did not provide this information initially.
And had they not provided it a second time, then we would be having a different discussion. That would be a not approved or some other, cure process or something.
And you can see the chief added her own box here.
Yeah, these are a little bit older envelopes, and so this reason isn't on our envelope. So that's an other category. So
This is the one I asked her if she noted what the woman told her. And she said, no, should I have? And I said, if they tell you something, you should write it on
yes,
here.
and they're trained that.
Yeah, I know she knows it.
And you can tell the difference between some of the workers because they write everything.
Mm-hmm.
I even have one
Down
where-
the sides.
Yes, yeah. So there's only one in the next category, which is ID not provided, exceptional form was completed for reasonable impediment. So I'll go ahead. That one's pretty straightforward. It's the same as what you do for absentee ballots when there's an exception form.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go ahead and give this one to Mr. John. Kind of continue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
He provided additional documentation too. So that's attached as well.
This application is not signed by this chief.
Mhm.
Is that an issue?
If you want to make it one, just,
I don't want to. I think it's an oversight. I know there were times where I put
Right.
it in there and almost did that, so I know it happens.
there was a sticky note on one that said that she forgot to sign, and she did initial the back of it.
She did.
I would say that wouldn't be a reason to change the approval of the ballot.
I would,
No.
yeah, I would hate to penalize the
Just
voter.
asking about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes
You could
things are
make a note
weird.
and talk to the chief if you're
Yes.
concerned.
No, I understand it happens. I
Yeah.
just wanted to ask the question.
Now, just so that I understand our procedure, Kelly, the places where driver's license or social security was needed and not supplied are going to be in another group where they're unapproved, because we're doing all the approved first.
Well, the category has everything, so if you don't see any, then there wasn't any not approved.
Oh, okay.
So the 5 that we received in that category were all completed correctly, and so they were all approved.
Okay, so
And-
what you're saying is in your chart, if it's not approved, it still is in within the voting reason.
Yes, it is, and just not highlighted. So it's in the, which is why the next voting reason, ID provided exception form, there's only one, and that one is recommended for approval as well. That's the one Mr. John has,
All right.
coming down the chain.
All right, you want to talk to us about this next one, the incorrect party, the one approved in this group?
We're still on reasonable exception or no exception.
This is the one that's coming right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to move on?
Yes, please.
Okay, so there's 2 actually in that category. If you flip the page, there's one, and then if you flip the page again, there's another. So,
Oh, okay, the last one,
Yeah.
yes.
so the first one, the 100-7, that voter, through research, there was one registration document on her record. And it was from the date of 4/9/2003. And the party affiliation clearly says Republican. And I could find no indication that she had requested to change to a Democrat party. Again, way before my time, back in 2003. So it appears to me, so what I have found is that somewhere around 2011, what is when it seemed that the paper documents were scanned and paper records were moved into a more electronic system. I don't know if it's actually the system we're using now or some form of it. So in 2011, there was a massive amount of information that went from pen and paper to electronic. And so I think with that amount of data entry, you were going to have some issues. And because what I noted here on this envelope is that voters submitted a voter registration form 4/9/2003. That document was scanned 5/23/2011. And so if the data entry had been done then, it may be that's where the mistake was made. But the document clearly indicates Republican Party. I believe it was entered correctly by staff at that time. It is my recommendation that the ballot should count. It's an old staff error. But I will also tell you that the party was updated on a voter registration form that was provided by the chief. So we have that in our queue as well. So it is my recommendation that this one counts. The second one,
What
Now,
would they,
before we move on, since I'm seeming to have some difficulty as we
Oh.
skip forward and back between things, have we done this one? to
Yes.
completion? Okay, and everyone's looked at it.
no,
Oh, okay.
it's coming this way now.
Okay, so we started talking about the next category, and we were talking about someone who appears on which page of the
On
materials?
page 2 of 6, under the highlighted approved.
Okay, and that's the person who has the aged data from your 2003 scanning
Yes, ma'am.
discussion?
Yes, ma'am. And I made a copy of that, so when you send it, you'll see the document,
So what did Seams say her party registration was?
Democrat.
All right, and that, there's nothing to indicate that she ever
No,
chose that party. Okay,
no. The only document I have is this one that was scanned in 2011, and I don't know, I wasn't here for those years, but my guess would be that that was probably things that were scanned in, and then that data had to be entered because we went from a paper system to electronic. And so it was just an operator error is my assumption. It just was never caught.
Okay, I'm
Perhaps-
still confused by why it is that this one is going to be approved. This is someone who was registered as a
A
Democrat.
Democrat, but
And the
she's,
paperwork shows,
that she registered Republican. And she stated, voter does not know how she was ever registered Democrat. That was her statement. She's contesting the fact that she was registered a Democrat because in her assumption, she registered Republican and has not ever changed.
she's absolutely right, yeah.
And through my research, I could find nothing to show why she was registered Democrat other than a potential possible
staff error.
staff error.
Well, let me ask you this. Did they call you about this provisional and could you see it? Did you know this one was coming?
This person, right, but we can't make changes. on the
Right,
fly.
absolutely. But you knew about this one coming.
Well, I'm sure
Okay.
either I spoke to them or Rebecca did.
Okay,
They're supposed to call for every provisional.
right.
Yeah,
All right,
but it's still a provisional.
correct.
Even if
Because,
I,
yeah,
because no party changes are allowed,
correct.
even if it's a.
Even if
found
it's
error.
a mistake.
That's corrected after the fact. So do you want to move on to the second one in that category?
Yeah, this just looks like a mistake at the precinct level, yes?
Okay, so before we go to that, just because I'm continuing to be confused,
Sorry.
so we're doing only the approved ballot. So the one where we are passing for review, who was approved for providing supplemental information, we are not identifying why the similar situation was not approved, right? Because we're doing all of the approved first, then we're going to go back and do all of the disapproved.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That
But we
doesn't-
can do them all. We can do approved, not approved, approved, not approved if you want to, but I think it can get a little hairy by the end because then you've got all these ballots that you've got to separate and make sure that you've got the,
No, I'm not challenging
Oh,
your
no, no.
administrative
Yeah.
reason for logistically proceeding that way. I'm just trying to understand to make sure that we are following the statutory basis in each category,
yes.
since we seem to be skipping ahead to the next category of reason for not voting the approval before we've completed the prior category. So
Yes.
you're just
Yeah.
up a little faster than
Okay.
I am.
Yeah, and I'm fine. We can take it one at a time. As far as the exception form reasonable impediment, if everyone is on board with that, that typically is, unless you can find that form to be
That's the one that
false.
just went through.
Right, I was
Or
gonna say,
not
if everyone's
factual.
right, the question was, had everyone had a chance to
Yes.
read it? Because some people were reading while you were explaining the
Okay.
next category.
Okay. And I think we could just take it one at a time. I'm fine with that.
So I'm fine to do all the approved, but I
Okay.
do think it's a little disorienting for you to be talking about the next category while some people are
Sorry.
speaking at the prior. Not all of us are just as speedy as you
Oh,
are.
I know.
Now,
And
when-
it's okay.
that's true.
So
45 years of being a lawyer, I do tend to look at every
I
item on the ballot,
apologize.
So,
So
sorry.
were
Plus,
there
I'm
any
looking at it from a
questions regarding
completely different aspect.
the exception form, the reasonable impediment? He did mark the issues. He signed the form. So that one typically would be an approval based off of guidelines for that.
Okay.
So,
Fine.
moving on to correct party and a partisan primary, you vote the party you're registered. If you're unaffiliated, you can choose. And so the state says that we don't turn anyone away. That's their recommendation. So if someone is either adamant that they are registered a party different than what the poll book is indicating, or if they are adamant that they wish to vote a ballot other than what they are registered, their option is to vote a provisional. And that is what the poll workers are trained to recommend. So at general check-in, at that point, they are moved over to the help station. They're given another brief description, pulled back up, and then the chief judge will allow them to vote a provisional process. And we had quite a few of those. I would say probably the largest category. And typically, they would not count if your findings are, by all accounts, they're registered this and they voted this. They can change and update for future, and a lot of them did. And I made notations of those. We had some that were not interested in changing, and you'll see that as we get further into this, but they still wanted this particular ballot. So in my research, what I found were two that were clearly staff errors. And the first one was the one we just spoke out. And I don't know if we can say that.
100.
You can't say the name now.
So that's the one, 100-7, that was on the first. So on page 2 of 6, it's the only one highlighted. And again, we went over that. The voter registration form I have on record has the party affiliation of Republican. And she also made a statement that the chief judge noted on this. And so the chief judge also gave her voter registration form to update, because at that time, research wasn't necessarily done. We covered all the bases.
Okay.
So there's that one. The second one was a big surprise to me. So that one is on page
Yeah, I don't know
4
how
of
this
6.
happened.
Page 4.
4 of 6, the very top row.
Mm-hmm.
What I think maybe happened is that the voter requested it and the chief judge just didn't double check, which they are also told to do. You always double check, because people think they're registered one way, but they're not. But this voter was registered unaffiliated.
Mm-hmm.
And on 9/19/2023, they were registered unaffiliated. I printed out that document. I also printed out a screenshot of their record, so you can clearly see they're unaffiliated and what their ballot options are. So thankfully, they did decide to vote this provisional. It's my recommendation that even though the worker put, that they were registered Democratic, they were not. They were unaffiliated. And so in which case they would have the option to choose. And so this ballot should count.
So this worker did not look at the voter record to do this and did not call in. Is that correct?
If they called, this was not one that I got, because I look up every voter, and I would have absolutely recommended this is a regular ballot.
Where did this happen?
In Mania.
All right.
So either I wasn't called or I wasn't a call that I got. And I tried to tell the workers to please ring my line first, and they did, but I had my phone and my cell phone
Notes for
going.
chief training.
Yeah. I've found that sometimes the chief will take a voter's word for it when they're adamant, and I've had to train my staff that,
Yeah.
because they'll come in and they'll say something, and I'll say, look them up first. And sure enough, and that just comes with experience and being seasoned and know.
So in the case where there was a mistake at the polling station, whichever ballot had been requested should have been voted as a normal ballot,
Yes.
because the voter was unaffiliated.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's exactly what we have here with this second one. So thankfully, they stayed and voted it, and now we can, approve it, and it'll still count.
So let me ask you this, on this provisional, will this serve to change their party since they were registered as unaffiliated?
There's no change needed, no.
Okay.
And so when, when a wrong party ballot is voted, it is not an automatic change. There's two different screens. And so only if the voter requests to update the party, and I made notations every time that happened versus someone who wanted to remain but chose to just vote
Vote
a
this
different
time.
ballot. Correct. And we have a mix of both. And then also we had some chiefs that I thought was great. Instead of changing it in the record, which you can, because a provisional application can act as an update, they offered and had them complete a voter registration form.
Right.
And so the change would still happen, just not with this application, but with the registration form. And we got quite a few of those. And I checked to see, and so I made notation. So you'll see some that say Chief Judge offered and they completed a registration form. So that's also
Okay.
there.
But they don't have to. So
They
they
don't
can
have
remain unaffiliated.
Absolutely, right. And so in this instance, no changes.
All right, are these,
On this BOE 101-5, the provisional voting application clearly states Democratic
Mhm.
as the party affiliation, and the voter signed, attested to the truth of this application. Now, I understand that there's the assertion, and I have no reason to believe that it's not true,
Mhm.
that this was an error on the part of the poll worker.
Mhm.
But still, we have the attestation of the voter
Mhm.
that their party affiliation is Democratic.
Now, had it
So
been
there's a problem.
had it been Republican and this was an error, we might have an issue. But with unaffiliated, they would still get
I'm
that
not following
ballot.
you. The problem is the attestation of the voter on the application itself, because they're clearly stating the party affiliation.
No, that isn't the issue, John. If the voter
All
is
the time.
unaffiliated, they can sign, having a delusional moment as to what it is they've signed, but it doesn't prevent them as a matter of law
Right.
from voting the ballot, because the proper registration is unaffiliated, regardless of whether they say in the moment, I'm a Democrat. So
Yes.
when the research was done by Kelly, the voter was determined to be registered as an unaffiliated, which means whichever ballot they cast, however they sign, they should be allowed to vote whatever ballot they filled in on that day.
but I think what John is saying is they attested to
I have
information that's not true.
expressed an opinion.
Yeah.
I've expressed an observation. So until
May I see
I
that? Because
express-
there's
Sorry, my
multiple-
apologies. I was just saying, I didn't think that was the issue, but.
I understand what you're saying.
Because,
there's two places on the application. where
okay, so
there's
show me,
essentially a mistake.
show me where you see them, where you see that here.
This isn't the one. is it?
Okay, so that, he is the one who is unaffiliated. So
Which-
this
what am
one,
I looking at?
so I think you looked at the wrong, because, yeah. He
You
was
have only two
registered,
of them?
yes, there's two.
Okay, this
She-
is the 107. Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
yes,
so that's totally incorrect what I said.
yes.
Okay.
Never mind.
Because I was like, wait.
I didn't realize that I
There's
was handed
two, yeah.
two, because I've already looked at the 107.
Yeah, I mean, he clearly, it says unaffiliated all over
What's
it.
the 107 going around again?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't
The
seen it.
107?
Yes, sir.
No.
Yeah, I think it just didn't make it.
This is more like it, thank you.
Mhm.
Ignore all of that.
Okay, I think the basis for your confusion, John, is the notes from the chief say voter registered Democrat wanted to vote Republican.
No, it was on the application, and I was looking at the application on 107.
They were stuck together.
They were stuck together,
Yeah.
107,
Well-
if you look at the application.
And the chief judge wrote that, and I think it's possible that maybe the voter for the unaffiliated, maybe he stated that he was, and so she just took, after you do so many provisionals, you just say, okay, but, it was right
But
there
on
in
the
front of them.
application, it's clearly written
Clear, so,
that the voter
yeah,
states that they're unaffiliated.
No, I see that. I'm just noting that the chief's notes tend to
Yeah.
muddy the issue.
They do
on that.
occasionally.
which obviously is why she voted him, and I'm thinking
Provisional.
that she just didn't check.
Yeah, no, the chief's notes seem to be the source of at least some confusion.
She just took what he told her and didn't
I
look
think
any
so,
further.
too.
Yeah.
And just processed it, and then when even if she noticed it, she's kind of in it. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't say.
Well, we're only speculating as to what was told to the voters, since all we can tell is from what the notes say.
I can
I
tell
think
you a
it's
lot of
confusing.
people come in and want to go directly to the help desk
Yep.
rather than go through the line. So it's a good practice to require them to go through the line, no matter what they think they know.
Mhm.
Because 9 times out of 10, they're going to vote normally. They don't have a problem. They just think they do. And then if there is a problem, then let the check-in refer them to the help desk. And so we need to, I guess, remind them that that's how they should do it, so things like this don't happen. It's not the end of the world, but it
Well-
does make more work for
It
you.
does, and I really have started pushing the help referral forms because I think that wasn't being done, and that helps.
Mhm.
It forces this chain of events that should be happening. Check-in, issue, help referral, help desk. So that there's a process that's always done with every voter. So the next provisional voting reason was incorrect precinct. There was 3 of them, and all 3 of them I'm recommending for approval. They're all registered voters. They just were unable to get to their precinct for time or work. But the guidance is if they are registered, they can vote at a precinct by provisional. They can go to their precinct or vote in a different precinct by provisional, but there's no reason why you shouldn't count it. But the credit would be assigned to their precinct, of course, which means they would need to vote the correct ballot, which is checked.
Typically, we have seen that happen where we get several people who can't make it back to their home precincts because of work.
Yes,
So-
there's one I think was specifically a first responder type person. They were coming off of a 24-hour shift and they
Yeah,
just
we
needed to
typically
get
had
it done.
public safety officers who end up here in Manio because they can't make it back
Mhm,
to their precinct prior to the close.
mhm.
But in terms of the tape, Kelly, their votes go back to their original, precinct of registration.
Right, so they should be marked with the voters precinct, but if they're not, I will make that notation prior to them going into the tabulator, just a little.
So that we'll reconcile to the
Yes,
correct
because when we do our
locations.
precinct sort at the end, for voter history's sake, we need to know which precinct gets the credit, for lack of a better word. And the voter history.
They're so colorful. That's because sometimes I don't remember the red ones from the blue ones, so I always have two colored pencils.
Ah,
So I could get you a whole box of colored pencils. Oh, well, that would be lovely. I like colored pencils, but
they're fun.
I didn't bring my driver's license.
I never carry it with when I wasn't driving. I never did anything but my phone. I just went to go from now on, which would have really ticked me off. No, it would have been really bad.
Yes. Mhm.
Chick, fondly called a chick. R4 is the ballot. Yeah, that's correct.
so they gave a ballot for not their precinct of registration.
Ballot's not issued. 04. This is KDH. No, this is not KDH. This is Collington. What's the ballot for Collington? Is it 4 or is it 3?
Collington is 4.
Okay. This says,
It should be. I'm not sure. I have to go look, but I promise you I checked it.
but this says
They got the ballot.
R4 is correct, but not for Collington. Your notes.
But not for Collington?
I think that's what it says. I don't,
I wasn't clear as to what I mean, in this particular case, it wouldn't matter because there was no distinction between the Collington ballot.
Oh, that's ballot. R4 is correct ballot for Collington.
oh, ballot. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Right, it wouldn't have mattered because the ballots, other than the geographic, there wasn't a voter choice.
I should have known.
Yeah,
This.
It wouldn't matter.
This is my
It's very
project.
important that they
Carolina
vote out a
House.
precinct, that they get the right ballot because of the contest. So Kyoto Hills has R3.
Mhm.
And so they were trained and they were given a small pack of the ballot different than their precinct specifically for this reason. So because of the House district. So when we go to do the precinct sort, had they voted an R3 ballot, our precinct sort, the ballots go into the individual precinct tabulators. So Collington would need to get that ballot, and if it was an R3, the machine wouldn't take it.
Okay, so the question is this a voter because they have the wrong ballot for the precinct that they live in, that they voted a contest for a different district than their home precinct?
No.
Which is why I make sure that they have a small amount of the correct ballot for every other precinct. So that in the event someone votes out a precinct, they get the right ballot.
Right, so that's why the note confuses me. So the
Right, because it
question-
says ballot.
It
We thought
doesn't say-
said but not.
It doesn't say, it says ballot. It says
Is the-
R4 is the correct ballot for Collington. I made sure.
Okay,
I wanted you to
right,
know.
so from the perspective of the importance of voting, that person got the district contest for their home precinct.
Yes,
Correct.
Right, the same ballot they would have gotten if
Had they gone to the
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
that's what the question is, because
Yeah.
again, the notes are a little
Yeah.
bit unclear to me.
All chiefs get
I know they
a
get
handful of
every-
ballots for
for
each
every-
precinct, just in case, yeah.
Right, but because of the redistricting, we no longer have
Yeah,
uniform.
and Collington and Kyoto Hills
We haven't had
have
it
two
for a
separate
while.
ballots, even though they're right beside each other. One gets R3, one gets R4, so that was one, well, I checked them all, but I wanted to make notation of that one so that you knew.
Right, because the important question from the voting perspective is that they got a ballot which allowed them to vote in the correct precinct, had they been in their proper location.
Yes, and that they did not vote for a contest to which they were not eligible. And had they gotten the Kyoto Hills ballot, we would have had to manually enter everything but the
District vote.
House district because they weren't eligible to vote for it. So it'd been a lot more work for us.
What happened here? Let me see that.
Which one are you on?
This Nags Head one. I thought they time stamped these, but apparently not. Okay, never mind. There you go.
I don't think any of them are timestamped.
No,
Is there something wrong?
no, I just wondered what time he went there.
So Randy, I can put a set of this in the minutes if that helps you when you're writing. So if you wanted to write it in something, might help. Not having to do so much detail.
That's fine.
Probably looks better today.
Thank you.
Will the spreadsheet of these various things be attached to the minutes?
That's what you just offered to do. I'm not sure how that works because this is not public information.
I think they have to redact the
What's the
name.
ballot
I think so.
Kelly,
Ma'am.
I didn't mean to interrupt Tammy's question.
Can I see this? I believe next head is an R3, which is what they got. So I'll check on that, but I'm pretty sure. What was your question?
My comment or question is, in order to attach the chart with the approvals to the minutes, I believe the names of the voters need to be redacted. Because the minutes technically can be requested by a FOIA request. So in order to protect the privacy of the voters, if we attach it to the minutes,
I
the numbers
don't-
can stay on, but I don't think the names can.
I don't think so. I think that once we canvass, it becomes voter history like everyone else. Because we're not showing how they voted
Oh,
and there's no
that's true.
party affiliation. Even though in a primary voter record, you can look me up and see what ballot I pulled.
Right.
So I don't think so. I'll check on that, but there's nothing on this list.
That identifies the.
I
the
may
way-
because we don't even write this poll book number on the ballot. So I could redact that just to be safe, but it's not written on the ballot. So I don't think there's anything else that's not public record. Even the age, because it's the age, not the birth date.
Right.
Okay,
What
but
about the comment on
like not registered?
That's public as well.
well, they will be.
And like, and my comments are public record as well, as long as I don't put a date of birth or social or driver's license number, something that's confidential.
What about the comment about this voter, the unregistered, the unaffiliated voter? Can that be there or does that need to be removed?
I mean, it doesn't say anything that's,
Okay, just, I mean, because they are registered as unaffiliated.
And that you
right,
could
but
just.
that's
put-
public
that's
record.
public.
Okay, all right.
But I could also just redact it and then it's not an issue.
All right, we're ready for the previously removed people.
Just double checking, unless someone knows. If you'll give me just a moment, please.
Yeah, I think Nags Head is part of the southern group.
So
of
Nags Head
colleges.
is in R3 and that's the ballot they got. So if you want to keep that since you have the stack. Sorry. So the next group would be the provisional voting reason previously removed. Typically a category as well that if you're removed, you're also not registered. If you're not registered, you're not eligible to vote. But state guidance does allow for voters who have been removed due to 2 federal general elections, but has maintained continuous residency to have their registration, in a sense, reinstated by the provisional application and their ballot to count. So research has to be done to support that. So in 2 out of the, I don't know how many, 8 or 9, I did find that the voter was removed for that reason. They were removed, one, maybe both of them, let me see. One submitted a registration past the deadline, so they did attempt to register. They both did provisionals. They were both removed due to, after 2 federal general elections. And both of them supplied the same address on their provisional application as what their registration was when they were removed. I also did research through the state search and could not find any record that they had moved out of the county, were registered anywhere else in the state. So I found no record of registration anywhere else. They've maintained this continuous residency. They're trying to register at the same places they were when they were removed. And so it would be my recommendation to approve these two.
Now, as to the voter who attempted to register after the deadline, was that voter also someone who had failed to vote in 2 elections but was still at the same address?
Yes, and so that registration that they submitted, their provisional and the removed, all 3 have the same address. And I attached both documents to that one.
So why aren't we approving the voter at the top of page 6 of 6? Because if they were removed for
Oh,
the
that
same
person,
reason.
then no, then they didn't have the same address, or I would have made a notation. I thought you were asking about the 2.
No, I was just trying to understand for the
No,
one who registered after, if that person had failed to vote.
No,
in
that
2.
person registered after the deadline was just in addition to the main reason why they were being approved. I just gave you as much documentation as I could.
Right, but the person who had been removed, were they removed for failing to vote in the 2 general elections, but
No.
still lived at the same address?
No,
Oh, okay.
this person that is on the top page 6, I'm not sure why they were previously removed, but if they were in that category of after 2 federal generals, they'd be in this category here. I would let you know. There was only 2.
Because if that person attempted to correct their unregistered state, but still lived at the same address, the fact that they were late wouldn't prevent us from
No.
approving their.
No, which is why I made notation of that with the person that you're getting ready to look at. So if they had that previously removed due to 2
Failure to
federal
vote.
general elections, it would have been notated. Those were the only 2. Because they're the only 2 that would prompt us to look for continual residency. If they moved out of state and then came back to the same house, it doesn't apply.
No, I
Mhm.
understand that if they have a break in residency, they
Yes.
have to go back and correct to original.
Yeah.
I was just inquiring because this could be someone, since the notes are not exactly clear to me, that had they failed to vote in 2 and been removed,
That would be
and then
listed.
tried to correct it.
Because that is a main source of approval, that would be there. If that was an issue, if that was why they were removed, you would know it because I would pull
Would have
those. Mhm. And if for some reason they were removed after 2 federal, but there was a break-in residency, then they're not to be counted.
No, I
Yeah.
do understand that. I'm just trying to make sure we understand the basis for that. Because trying to clean up your registration after the fact doesn't invalidate you if you had met the prior criteria.
And if there's any of these that are not approved, that you want to see more documentation or want me to print something, I'll be glad to do that. I can print whatever we have in their records. Oh, yeah. So I actually made notes on that one. So he was removed after 2 federal generals, but he registered with a different address. So,
Right, because the notes say here, removed after 2 generals.
yeah. So he was, but the address was different. So if it has to be both, it has to be continuous residency and removed.
Yeah, she's looking at a different one. She's looking at one of the 2 approved.
Yeah. Those, I can't find a different address in anything that I look at.
I'm sorry, I should have said Karen as not she. Forgive me.
I knew which she you were referring to.
Okay.
So is this one, submitted to the formal county has to be disapproved if they're in a new county more than 30 days. Is that what this is?
Yeah, I think so. The way it works on the ground, if someone goes to vote, they give you an address and it's not what you see on your screen. And you say, how long have you lived at that address? And they say 15 days. You vote them at their prior address.
But
Okay.
if it's
More than
40
30.
days,
Right. Then they have to vote in a precinct
Then you-
with a new address.
a new address, right? Because I think that's what this is, it's a provisional
Yeah,
from the fund, right? So if this is not approved here,
right.
right, they should have voted
Somewhere, wherever they,
provisional. They're new if they had not re-registered.
right.
Yeah, okay.
husband had the correct address and he went straight on through. The wife never updated her driver's license and therefore never updated her address. So, he said.
So the next group is unreported move. There's 3 out of the 4.
No, she can't vote incorrectly either. So it happens. It happens a lot. But usually it's like within.
So one of them, the voters stated that they moved from one precinct to the other over 2 years ago, and just didn't report the move. The other one, also registered voter, that they just didn't update their address and stated that they lived in Watchie's for more than 30 days. This one, they moved within the state, moved within the state, active days. Okay, this is the one that I think because, so they were removed. This was let me see, are these all, I think this one's separate, actually. Let's just do these 2 first, because this one is a little bit interesting.
Are we moving on to unreported moves, or are we?
Yeah, so you're in unreported move, and I put that one in this category. I'm not exactly sure.
Which one is that?
This is, so this is the third one,
KDH,
KDH 100-3.
All right.
I actually think that this one should have been a same-day registration because they were shown to be removed, so it's a little bit different. That one, the category may need to be updated.
Was this a provisional done during early voting?
Yes, yeah. So, and it says the voter didn't realize that they had been registered in Wilmington, thought she was still registered in Dare, is now back in Dare full-time since May of 2025. And I wrote, moved within the state, active registration in New Hanover. They had a photo ID, proof of residency for Dare. They stated they had been here for over 30 days, which is May 2025, and they came in during the early voting. And my advice would be that it should have been a same-day registration, and then she would have voted a regular ballot. So even though she's removed, unreported move may not be the right category for that. And so I can certainly change this in the system prior to approving. I don't
What do
really
you
know.
think it should be?
I don't know, and that's probably why I stuck it there. I guess probably a previously removed.
Or no record of registration?
Well, we have record, it's just, so I think it probably
Did
falls.
she go to school in Wilmington?
Probably.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably more a previously removed. And I checked removed, so I may have just put the wrong thing in the system because I actually checked removed voter, which would move her up to the removed voter category. But I think that because she voted during early voting,
She should have been a new
she
registration.
should have been a same day because we wouldn't have even
Yeah.
looked at New Hanover. We would have not even noticed.
And that was done in KDH?
Yeah. So, and I can take some of the blame for this because I took this call, but didn't understand exactly what was happening
Yeah.
because there was a lot of information about moving and coming back. And I think it was let's do a provisional on this one to be safe because there were some things that just didn't quite make sense and it was busy.
But since the voter came in during early, they would have been same-day registration, so we should approve the ballot. And
Yes.
at the bottom line, regardless of which category it
Yeah.
was in, because they came in during early voting where they could have registered and voted. It should have
Yeah.
been approved as the same day.
Right. And actually, after about 30 minutes of thinking about it, I actually called Susie back, the chief judge, and I said, let me have her information. And I attempted to contact her multiple times to ask her if she would come in and complete a same day because we would have had 2 votes. one approved, one, then you would have just disapproved this one.
Mhm.
But I was never able to make contact with her. So.
So the better thing to do is to just approve what we have, because she would have been able to do it had she
Mhm.
been
Yeah.
contacted.
So I'll go ahead and pass this through since we've already gone through. I think I will change the category on this in the system
Yeah.
to a just previously removed. So I apologize that I put it in the wrong spot, but I'll change it.
Does
if
it really
that's okay.
matter, honestly?
For just accuracy and history's sake, I will
Okay.
fix it.
Yeah, it's not unusual for college students. We get a lot of them in big elections. So I know, I understand sometimes they throw so much information at you that you get confused and you lose track of where you're.
Yeah, and I think, I was like, I don't know, and, when in doubt, a provisional,
Yeah.
buy yourself that time to research if they're willing to do it, and she was, so.
And the point here for us, though, is that it could have been done as the same day, so that it ought to be approved now regardless of the-
Absolutely. And that would wrap up what I have for approvals. So
Okay.
when you're done, we should have 16.
Why does that look like that?
That's what I was wondering.
Weird. Oh, is this a late? What precinct is that? Is that Wanchese? That's
No,
why.
No, it is not one.
Oh, it's Vance Harbor. That's why. It's it's filled in, it's,
Manual. Are
They're
you talking about the colors?
labels. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, 'cause it-
manual.
yeah.
So we print them blank packets of each step,
Yeah.
and so it's
I just
handwritten.
looked at it and saw all the colors on it and went, why does that look like that?
We're not sophisticated over there.
I'm so sorry. And that's actually a good thing, I think.
I actually think they're harder when they're manual. You've got to make sure you don't miss anything.
We had to do them manually that one time, and that was a lot.
A lot of writing.
Because you're spoiled with the laptops that
Mhm.
populate so much for you and ask you the questions.
We won't let you miss
Yeah.
the citizenship.
Right.
And the stuff, so.
Yeah, because she actually voted in KDH in 24. So I think that was all an honest mistake on her part.
The one that same day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and she was honest and said that she moved and came back. And when she registered in New Hanover, it automatically removed her from our records.
Right.
She probably didn't realize that that was how things work.
No, I don't think.
And I
most
think
of
there
them
is a
do.
lot of push on campuses for these kids to register.
Mhm.
And so they get kind of mixed up.
Yeah, they
Well,
do.
I don't think there's generally known that when you register at your educational institution location, that your home location disappears out of the record,
Yes.
that you get deregistered or unregistered.
Right,
at
and it
home.
doesn't always happen. I think sometimes things can slip through the cracks, but most of the time, I think if it's in the state, if they, it gets caught eventually and they get removed.
Well, the state system doesn't allow you to be registered in 2 locations. I think the fail-safe
Right,
is
but
to-
it sometimes it's not automatic. It does take a while because there's duplicate reports and things. You still have to kind of catch it, but it's getting better, I think. Okay, moving on to the,
Do you
sorry.
want us to go ahead and approve these formally and get them out of the way, or move on to the others?
Do you want to wait to see if there's any that, you approve that?
I thought about that, but
I would think
let
that
me
we
have
should
that
hold
stack.
them in, I think we should hold them to the side until we go through the disapproves, because if there is a questionable disapproved
Yes.
and the consensus of the board is to change it from disapproved to approved, then we would add it to the approved stack. So that way we don't have to amend our previous motion to
Agreed.
do it. So perhaps we should just set them aside for the moment.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so page 1 of 6, the one that was not approved on that page is provisional voting reason ID not provided, no exception form, returned with ID. They did not, and I just put a sample of the instructions that they are provided with the highlighted reason that they would have gotten, which gives them till noon today to return with their ID. I left a voicemail on the 5th, and then I also spoke with this person this morning, and they were fully aware of what they needed to do and the deadline, the timeline.
I'm kind of surprised by this one.
What I will tell you, she said was she was still looking for it, which was concerning because I feel like that really should have been, an
Let's
exception
hope
form.
it's not her driver's license.
Yeah. So I don't know, but anyway, that was what she agreed to, and she clearly stated she understood the rules and that there was a chance that her ballot would not count,
Okay.
and she seemed to be at peace with that. 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10.
No, she's usually pretty with it.
I think there's 21 of these. Let me just double check.
That's good. Oh, jeez.
She's very nice,
No, I know, but
very with it.
still,
I hope you find your driver's license.
yeah, that would be my.
I know it's
concern.
horrific when you can't find it.
22. Gabby, do you want to check my math?
Can I ask you a question? This is just an informational question. When do you stop doing the voter IDs in the office coming into an election?
Between the last day of early voting and election day,
Okay.
and then we can pick back up.
So she actually came in on election day, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you tell me what the back of that says, BG? What does the poll say?
77 900-5.
Yes, so that's an election day number.
Okay.
So, yeah, so she would not have been able to come and get her
Okay.
ID.
Get a replacement state provided ID.
Would you help me, count behind me? I believe that it's 22 is what we're getting ready to review. So the next voting provisional reason is incorrect party. And if I've counted all the ones that weren't highlighted, I believe it's 22. Someone wants to count behind me real quick and I'll count these.
Is there any way that she could have changed this to an exemption form between election day and now? Again, just an informational question.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
She didn't request that, so.
But if someone had lost their ID on the morning and came in, they could have sought an exemption
For reasonable impediment,
for a reasonable.
lost ID.
Right, or lost your mind, lost
Yeah.
your purse.
So, it wasn't clear anywhere that it was lost. I thought that it was just that she didn't have it, and so maybe it was discovered later
Yeah.
that
Okay.
there was more to it.
All right.
But,
I'm just curious, not,
No,
Yeah,
we
I
got
don't know.
22 on the
so
next.
22, these are 22 that, that the voter voted a party different than how they were registered. And they were pretty straightforward. Either they just wanted a ballot different than how they were registered, or they were concerned and contested their voter registration affiliation. But it was past the deadline. They had opportunities. And so their option was a provisional. And through research, there was no indication that it was a staff error. Some of them did say that they felt like DMV made the mistake. But again, they have that application to review. They get a voter registration card. They had ample time to verify. So it's not a reason for approval. But they were all given the opportunity to change their party if they wanted to, and a lot of them did. The ones that were surprised, or, a lot of them did, and some didn't. And that effect would, that change would take effect after the election for future elections.
is one of these one of our people? One of our workers?
At least 2 of them are.
Mhm. Okay.
Just weren't focused during that.
I think they didn't change their party, so they just really wanted to
Be difficult?
say they voted for.
Oh,
something.
I see. Okay. I guess I get that. I don't know.
So in each of these cases where we've got a not approved on the wrong party ballot, they were allowed to vote if it's done on a provisional basis, so
Yes.
it did not get into the system yet.
Right. If there was a party change, it's in there, but it's in a held status, just like all the registrations that are coming in. We're still putting them through, just, we're putting them in, we're just not pushing them out. So the updates will be made for future elections.
They're circling.
If they're highlighted here, this is the
Just don't
party they
recall
have
seeing this
changed
many
to.
vote wrong ballot.
I don't know.
Previous elections.
The primaries, we have them. We really do. 24.
No.
I think in
Then with this
24, we
one
probably had
Was a libertarian.
a lot. Probably had this many.
Totally.
Primaries
double
always
check.
bring incorrect party or wrong.
Can you come
party.
over here for a second?
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question because I see the highlighted and the form have different parties, so I'm not sure which was what was in the record versus was
That's
this,
the
or,
record, so you can look at the date. So that's how the person was registered.
so this says as of October
10/8/25.
25, they were registered as this, and then now they've re-registered as that?
Yes, they
Okay.
chose at the time of the application to
So
update.
their registration.
Here, let's see what I said. I said, voter registered libertarian, thinks DMV made mistake, wanted to vote Republican ballot, updated party affiliation on provisional application.
So the printed form is what they've updated to,
The printed, this, yeah, the one.
provisional
Yes,
application.
the provisional application is what will be in effect after the election. And the copy, if I felt like it was necessary to show you that extra. And like for one like this, they submitted, they didn't really argue possibly,
But they've updated, so
Yes.
what I'm just trying to
Mhm.
understand is
Yeah.
the provisional application form, which shows the different party affiliation,
Yes.
indicates what they have selected.
mhm. And then you can even look down here and it will say voter view ballot, which means that's what the ballot was in voter view, which is the registration application
Oh,
for
okay.
SEAMS.
Yeah.
So down at the bottom will also show you how they were registered.
And then what they've elected.
Uh-huh.
Okay, gotcha.
And you'll see some are changed and some aren't. And I tried to make, and like this one, I think also has one in the system, but it was past the deadline. They submitted one on 2/18. So they have two applications that will have to be processed with the change.
Right, okay. No, I was just trying to understand
Yes,
from the
yeah, absolutely.
forms.
Yeah, that makes it much clearer
Right,
when
it's
you
clear
look down
if you
here.
look at the bottom, because
Right.
that tells you what they looked at and then what they wanted to vote.
Right.
Yeah, so that gives you the summary.
Who they are, who they want to be.
Yeah.
Till next time and they change their mind.
And like some of them were a little bit more upset or angry or, you know,
Yeah.
and if the poll worker made a note of that, then I've printed the copy of the most recent application we had. So you can see that I looked at it and I attempted to find any possible staff errors.
Like this, yeah.
No, I was just
Yeah.
curious as to people who have used the provisional process to
As an
update their
update, yes.
registrations.
And I tried to make notes on them if you did, but you can also see it like you said.
Yeah, they do. So one will have a big song and dance when they come in. Yep. And we do get wound up.
What we found was during early voting, they would, since we were right here, we would have voters come into the office because they were really upset or bothered. And they would say, I voted this particular way for the last 8 years. It can't possibly be. And we looked and they may have, but they only voted in generals. So it's very possible they voted R or D for the last 8 years because in a general, you can. And so this is the first primary they voted in which case they were presented with this situation that they didn't realize was an issue. We found a lot of that
It's not uncommon. that's
People-
for sure.
a lot of people don't vote in primaries, and this one brought people out that wouldn't normally vote in a primary. And so now they're realizing how they're registered.
Is location not allowed for ethnicity anymore?
It's not in the drop down.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. It's just not, it's not there, so we can't pick it.
No, it's been white since I've been here.
No, just like, no, I mean, the not Hispanic.
Right.
Oh, no, it's,
No, it's either you are or you're not.
right, that's the ethnicity, but the race.
I meant
Yeah.
the ethnicity.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, it's not even part of it. It's not. It's either are or not. Mhm.
This one went the other way. It's weird.
Okay, in Craig Party, we're skipping, so the next one is no record of registration. 1, 2, 3. 7, approved.
You're so quick.
Well, with these there, just look at this. Like you're right.
Yeah. They don't. They don't get the system. If you sit in there, listen. How? Where's the primaries? I bet it was, set.
Yeah,
Which I think is why there are.
I think that's why there's so many crossovers. Yep.
Kelly, on 77-100-6. So he submitted this form to, I guess, ostensibly change his registration, but he did not select a party affiliation on this form.
So that's an automatic unaffiliated.
Okay, unless he did, well,
So what happens is if you don't fill out anything on the original form, you get defaulted to unaffiliated.
Mhm.
mhm. So it's going to change him to unaffiliated from his current affiliation? Is that how that will work? Because he's,
No, that's his original. That's the
If he's registered one
no,
way,
he just did this.
if he's already registered, then, and they leave it blank, then no, we don't change it.
Okay,
Because it could be that someone's just updating an address and they don't want to change their party.
well, this is the one where in the chief's notes, the voter says that he called the office twice to try and take care of this. But he did not change his party
On the form submitted.
on the form or the provisional application. That's what confuses me.
Yeah.
So,
And there would have been nothing to do over the phone,
right,
but for us to advise him to complete an application online, in person, or in the mail. So that we don't do any registration changes over the phone.
right. So this is one that's going to come back later and say that now he's tried 3 times and it
Mhm.
still hasn't changed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Did I write that he submitted a registration form
It's,
as well, or did he just?
this one? There's a registration form and it's received February 28th, 2026.
But no party indication.
No, he actually scribbled one out. Looks like he checked one and
Oh.
then scribbled that out too.
Well, I think we would consider that unaffiliated.
All right.
I remember that when he scribbled one out, and I think he ended up ultimately attempting to select unaffiliated.
Okay.
It's pretty rough looking, but
Yeah.
I think that's what we would consider that as.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Some of them are just absent. Oh, here's the one where Susie put a note on it that she forgot.
markings on one of the manual ballots. So under party affiliation, it's checked both libertarian and unaffiliated. And then it says change.
I think that's because the worker was putting what the person was currently registered and then indicated that they wanted to change. I think they,
Right, but then it says didn't know he was registered as unaffiliated. But it says on the notes on the bottom here, voter registered libertarian 719.
yeah, so I think the worker was confused because he was not registered unaffiliated, he was registered libertarian.
Okay,
'Cause had he
and
been-
now he wants to register two unaffiliated.
Yes, I think that's the,
The
I
intent.
think the worker was, I don't know, confused, because had he been registered unaffiliated, he could have just picked a ballot and voted regular.
Right, but that's why the notes from the chiefs, they didn't know he was registered unaffiliated. So I think there's at least a little bit of confusion up in the
Yes.
notes, because if he was registered unaffiliated, he wouldn't have needed a provisional.
Right, and he was definitely registered libertarian.
Confusing.
Yeah, very.
Well, I'll tell you, like on the ones that come off of laptops, there's a lot of that form that populates automatically for you on an existing voter, which these obviously are. But these people are
On
all
the
doing it
manuals.
on the manual ones. They have to do it all themselves, and there's really no.
Doesn't tell
This
you
shouldn't-
which is if
yeah,
that's new
right.
or.
This should not be here. This is the affiliation, and the change should be in a different place, but.
But it populates there on the laptop. If
Yeah.
you make the change, it populates there.
Right, but on the manual one.
The
notes
manual
and-
one,
Yeah.
it's confusing on whether or not you put it there or not, and you should, because that application is the new update. It's
Updated.
not what it used to be, it's what you want it to be now, just as if you were doing a registration form. And if you were doing a registration form, if you're registered, libertarian and you want to be green, you wouldn't mark libertarian, you'd mark green. So they should have marked unaffiliated.
Right.
And I think that's why it looks like that, like they
Just confused.
confused and, yeah. Sometimes I wonder too, if they might let the voter fill out some of it, because sometimes the handwriting's a little different. And I'm thinking they let the voter do it. Or just say,
Should happen.
but ultimately for every change that's done, there is a registration card.
This okay not filled out?
Exhaustion.
Okay.
What does it say?
It doesn't say anything.
But
You-
it's
you
clear
didn't-
on the.
Yeah, this was not completed.
Not
Is-
believing comment.
No, but the form and the notes are
Yeah.
consistent, so,
Right. This
We
is
can
their,
get-
the last registration information.
right,
Is that the last one?
yeah.
Yes.
But it is consistent, so, we'll give you grace on.
Appreciate it. I'm interested in, is that one that did an actual change, or if they just wanted the ballot of, let's see, they remain,
Yeah,
yeah.
they just wanted the ballot this time.
I think it said registered voter. Oh, there's nothing from R3 Emmanuel. R3.
Oh, look at you with your candy bag.
Really, you're welcome. These are very nice. All sugar-free.
Oh, I love the Hulk.
Oh,
Oh.
she was our one. She's our one that,
The what?
from the one that we're, she's just trouble that she's.
Oh, okay. I understand.
Okay, all right, so are we coming to the end of our list? I'll start working on
No record of registration.
no record of registration. And I believe there's 7, let me double check. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. See if there's- Some of these I found registered in another county. If I found that, I did write that. Some of them did maybe submit a registration after the deadline. If I found that, I notated that. But all of them were not registered in Dare. And I couldn't, I couldn't find that they had been, or else they would have been in like a removed category.
Right, I was gonna say, none of these are in the remove for failing to vote 2 times.
Right,
Group.
yes, correct.
Yeah, just straight up not registered in there. So on this one, the chief wrote the wrong voting precinct, is that, because he wrote Kitty Hawk?
No, no, I think this person came to Kitty Hawk And once it was discovered that he wasn't registered, but he wanted to do a provisional, instead of sending him to Kill Devil Hills to do that, to get that much of the process done, he just was, as a courtesy, he just did it for him. And you can.
This is someone who's registered in a different county.
Right, it was yeah, I mean, he wasn't registered at all. And he offered to do the provisional, the chief offered it instead of sending him away. I think it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. It's just on the handwritten part, is this not supposed to be the voters' precinct?
It should be,
Yeah,
yes.
that was my question.
So he wrote Kitty Hawk there.
Just drive a station.
Okay. So the next category is previously removed, and there's 7 of them for various reasons. mostly moved for. There were a couple for two or three for two federal general elections, but they had a different address. One for failing to be verified, they were sent notices. There's one in there that their record was removed due to the old purge law, and that's what it says. Removed due to old purge law, and there's no documentation. So I can't see where they used to be registered. I can't see anything.
1993 purge.
I guess, I don't know, but I know that all the records are gone. So there's nothing to look at. So they're just not registered anymore.
Haven't attempted to. since
No, there's nothing. And if they had, it was past the deadline. I can't remember, but it'll be written there.
But the purge is so old at this point, since it's 2026. We're talking about 33 years of having not noticed that you weren't voting.
Yeah,
Or registered, yes.
but I vote every time. That's what they'll
What
tell you.
was the percentage of voters we have? compared to-
According to education, to the human condition.
I think we had about 30% vote, 29% turnout. So, a little under 10,000 out of 32,000 voted.
It's not bad for a primary.
It's not bad.
We had that in 24.
Was in the primary? Yeah, that's the,
But typically, I think we're around 17 to 20 in a midterm.
yeah.
24 was presidential primary. So,
But the presidential primary before that was really, really low in 2020.
I have a question here about someone who is in our previously removed category, but the chief's notes say moved and didn't re-register, so maybe that should be in the other category for a move. It says
Oh.
moved within a year but didn't re-register. Active registration is currently in Terrell.
so we don't have that category. It's an option, but there's only a few like official categories, even though there's a bunch of boxes. So they were registered and then removed. They were removed because they moved, but they were removed as like the head category. Is that what you're asking?
Well, it would seem to me that the date of removal is 10 years prior. So they re-registered in another county
Uh-huh.
and then moved back here within a year and didn't re-register. So why wouldn't that be the same as the folks we had for, the unreported move? Because actually that's somebody who moved in.
I actually think that one unreported move I moved, remember, the last one, I actually decided to move her to a removed voter. The other,
Oh, so you moved the other one into the removed category?
yeah, I'm
so
gonna,
that-
that last one that we did, because but the other two were true unreported moves. They never left the county. They just went from one precinct to the other.
Right, this is somebody who moved back in. So the fact that they were,
Well, I can't attest to that, where they moved around. What I know is that they didn't register. They might have said they moved here, they didn't register.
Right,
So
but they
what-
had an active registration in an adjacent county,
Yeah, that has
That-
nothing to do with,
which has nothing to do with the removal.
well,
It
so
does.
that's that's why I put them in the category. As far as where they're registered somewhere else, doesn't matter to us. I put it there just so you can see, but, where they fall is they were previously removed. They were
Right.
removed from us. That's why they're no longer registered with us. They've been removed.
When that voter registered in Tyrrell County, whenever that was, the notification would have come to Dare County that they had registered him and he would be removed from our rolls. Is that correct?
Right, so it doesn't really fall into unreported move.
Yeah.
And typically unreported move, which is why I decided that last one was in the wrong place. Unreported move is typically more for, I come to Wanchese to vote because I live there, but when you look me up, I'm still on the books in Manio. And so it's an unreported move, and they usually count. They most of the time count because you haven't left and come back. You're just voting, you're transferring in because you didn't report that you moved from precinct to precinct. But I mean, I can, change that if you want.
I was only hoping that we had some sense of consistency when people move in and are registered somewhere else, because seems
Yeah.
like we aren't necessarily reporting that consistently across the categories, because,
Well, and it's only if I know it. I don't always know it, and they don't always report it. I find it through provisional research, but it's not necessarily that they give it to us. So if I find it, I put it there so that the state can notify. But they already have it, obviously, because I found it from them. The state has it. It's really relevant to us, but I don't know. It's one of the things they make us check. So I guess in case they voted in multiple places. But from my standpoint, these are people that were registered and removed versus no record at all.
See, this one was previously denied for this reason, that these cards were returned.
right, it's-
So that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons that would show up.
I get it in that case, but in the other one, they were removed for re-registering in an adjacent county.
Correct. No, I mean, you had asked about the previously denied.
Yeah, she has a
Category.
different address.
Right.
So she has two cards, but then,
Right.
yeah.
She was denied because both cards were returned as undeliverable. That's how they
And her current
verify.
address is a different address
Right.
than the one, because had they been
Mhm.
undeliverable, but she had the same address, she would have been in the other category. But she has a different address. So Kelly, I have a question on this one. This one says the voter registered in 24 was denied after one postcard in 25.
I doubt it was one postcard. That's all I had on the record. But
But we haven't had any more elections since 24,
Yeah.
so there aren't enough elections to make it 2 federal since 24.
But that's not the only reason why they get postcards. So when they register, we send a verification. And if that comes back undeliverable, we send a second verification. And so I'm guessing that it just didn't get scanned in because that was all I had on the record. But there's always a second notice. And then if they're already registered, and there's a change and we send a verification and that comes back undeliverable, then we send a confirmation card and that has to be returned. And if it's not returned, then that puts them in inactive. And then eventually they get, after a certain amount of time, removed. So, but my guess would be that there were 2 verifications sent to this person. If they were in the denied status, then they never made it to like full verification, verified, registered and
Yeah,
verified.
because I was going to say, in the past year, we haven't had a cleansing of the registrations because of other issues.
Well, we do. So we do the 2 federal generals. The state does that one. The state, we also have the NVRA where we do list maintenance based off of information we get from the post office. Not the NVRA, I'm sorry, the NCOA, National Change of Address, where we bring in information from the post office and then we send you a card and we say, hey, you're registered here, but the post office says that you now have this Florida address. Which one is it? And then also with general list maintenance, anytime you register or make a change, you're sent a verification card that starts a clock. And in your board member manual, towards the back of that manual, there outlines the process of list maintenance and how those cards are issued and the clock and that process. And so if you are a new registrant, the second verification return results in a denial. If you're a current registered person, the second verification would be a confirmation and that would end up in an inactive status, which if you're still able to vote, and voting or any other contact would put you back into active status. But a denial is done, and then you'd have to re-register. And that's why it's really important that all the records are, scanned in.
It just seems from the historical notes that this is a pretty short duration from registration in December of 24 to denial the first week of February of 25.
Right, because those clocks are 30 days. And so that must have been a new registrant who was sent a card. It was returned undeliverable. They sent a second card, returned undeliverable, and that's it. They're denied. Because what that tells us is they don't live where they say they live, which is a requirement to be registered. Residency.
And I guess you just can't tell that from this because there's a copy of only one card returned.
Right, but I can assume that because there's no other process that would work that quickly.
Because that's awfully fast.
Right, so
Someone who
you're
had been-
looking at, 2 30-day clocks. Because really, if you think about it, that's ample time for the postal service to get you that
depends on where you
verification.
live in Dare County.
Used to be anyway.
Well,
Used to
30
be.
days should be. And then we send you another attempt. And so that's why we scan the card, because there's notes on the sticker that says unable to forward or vacancy or, address not found. The post office will make these notations on the card. I can't tell you how many we get from Hatteras with a residential address. And we know that card's coming back because everyone on Hatteras Island has a PO box. But if they don't provide it, we still have to follow the method of verification through the USPS. That is the actual process of verification of registered voters. So when they are new registrants, they're denied, and when they're current registrants, they're moved into inactive until they make contact with us by either re-registering or providing a registration that is valid.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the same question. I'm sorry to appear dense today, but I am having a hard time following the notes to the denials. So in this one, which was an address in Manio, it says previously removed after 2 federal general elections, January of 25. Submitted voter registration form after deadline 2/10/26 with different address.
Right.
But the address that is on the registration application and on this form are the same address. So what is the referred
This is
to
the new.
What's the date on that application that's attached?
2/10/26?
So that's the new one. I just was letting you know that they did submit something, so they're going to be registered. I didn't print the old one. I will be more than happy to, but
So the addresses in the 2 submitted forms are both the new
Yeah,
address and the
right,
old
right. And so
address.
if you want me to go get the old one, it would have been on a denied record, but I could pull it. But when they were removed due to 2 federal general elections, and then when they attempted to re-register, it's not they're not showing continual residency, then we're not supposed to approve them.
Right, but I guess just to avoid having me have to ask you these
Yeah.
questions, because I can't follow the notes, it just would have been helpful to have known what the address was from the denial of the 2 priors.
Okay,
Because when you say different address, the document in front of you shows 2 of the same addresses.
okay.
So it's hard to say,
Mhm.
okay, if they had been denied for 2 federals, but this address was the same as that one.
Yeah. Do you
then-
want me to print that?
No, I'll take
Okay.
your word for it,
Okay.
because you wouldn't put the notes in if they weren't accurate. But it's just hard to tell from reading that, because it doesn't refer to
Right.
what it's a different address from as the basis of
Yes,
denial.
yes, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It's just, that's why we look at these and just try to understand what the differences are.
We should have one more over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because this takes us to 37.
So the last one is, this was an unreported move, but a little different. So I suggest not to approve it. So this person is registered. They maintained registration, but they said that they were registered, that they moved to be with their mother in Western North Carolina in August 2025. And then they moved back to Dare February 14th, 2026. So that was less than 30 days by their own admission.
More than 30 days.
Less than 30 days before the election.
Thank you,
Oh,
yes.
sorry.
And that although they never registered in the Western county where they were at,
That's what
and they were registered here, they did verbally admit that they left the county in May of 2025 and have only been back for, a couple of weeks. So that being said, the precinct official, the check-in person, moved them to the help station. And so the help station decided to do a provisional. We thought it was best, being that we had that spoken. So they're registered. Had they not said a word, they could have voted. So they were honest. And when they gave an address, so what prompted it was that they gave an address different than how they were registered. And when the worker did what they were trained to do, which was, have you lived at this address for 30 days or more, they told the truth and said no. And then it came out that they actually have not lived at the other address either. There was not a Dare County to Dare County address, that there was actually this long, stretch of out of the county. And so even though they are currently registered with Dare County, they stated that they moved out of the county and should have been removed. They just weren't. So I think that one was an unreported move. It's kind of a weird one. So I will leave that up to you. It was my recommendation to not approve it, but you certainly can. You choose to. And I can change it.
So this is on the two wrongs should or shouldn't make a right standard, because in fact, they remain registered here. They should have registered in the western part of the state, but they didn't. But technically, if they had moved, having registered, then they would have an acceptable provisional because of the fact that they would have been in the new location less than 30 days. So the failing here is because they didn't register in their interim location.
Or they didn't report that they moved. They could have just reported that they moved and removed themselves from the rolls and not relied solely on a system to remove them just by, so they definitely could have, I don't know. I mean,
Well, what I'm looking at the memo on unreported moves, and it says for a voter moving within the state 30 days before the election, their proper precinct is the one associated with their old address. And that's where they didn't register. So the difficulty is they didn't register where they should have.
yes.
Technically, if you're in a new county and votes at a new precinct, then, within the 30 days, the memo indicates that you would be voting a provisional, but it should be the contest at your old location.
Right. And that's why this one is,
It's messy
it's
because
tricky, because had she stayed within the county and only been at this new address for a couple of weeks, then she could, like you say, just vote in the previous, in her where she's currently registered in her previous address. But by her own admission, there was a break in between the two addresses where she completely left the county, and
didn't
that
register.
violates the residency portion of being registered, which says that you must live in Dare County for 30 days prior to an election, or you must live in Dare County, you must reside in Dare County for at least 30 days in order to register. So there's the residency portion of registration, but she's already registered, but we know she probably should have been removed based on the fact that she left.
Right,
the
that's why I said
county.
it's two wrongs.
Yeah.
Because she didn't get removed here and she didn't register at the new location.
But she admitted to
Probably
leaving.
didn't. probably didn't plan on staying if she was moving to take care of.
Of an aged parent,
Aged
because most
parent.
people do that thinking it's interim, but,
So,
so we get to penalize somebody for being a good daughter?
Absolutely.
It's also a Dropbox address. It's not a real address. I'm pretty sure. I think this is the shipping place.
the address?
Have we
Basic
verified the
address.
street? Have we verified the address?
So you have to be careful with that because
We're not allowed to verify.
we can't, you know,
That's just from having dealt with it that I believe that to be true, and I can
Right, but
double
our
check it
role is
for
board
my
member.
own.
You can satisfy your own curiosity, but we're not allowed to.
Nope.
unless it's someplace that you know, I guess you could really contest.
Yeah, if they said they lived here, at the county office
Right.
building, then we would know that that was a,
Or at your address.
yeah, or at my house.
Hmm.
Well, then we knew they would have gotten the wrong ballot because
No,
it would have
this
been
is-
a
it's
duck
not.
ballot.
So, you know, essentially, this could happen and no one ever know, people who leave and come back and vote, and they didn't get removed. But in this case, we do have some documentation of the timeline from the voter. And so,
Right, she gets penalized for being honest.
yeah, so, you know,
Well, Madam Chairwoman, what do you think we should do?
where was her residency for 30 days prior to the election? Where did she live? I think is the question.
Mhm.
Um,
But if,
I
if
think-
we're gonna talk about domicile as a means of residency, if you go to be a healthcare provider for a familial member, you don't necessarily have the intention of changing your residency. So the residency question is very complicated.
But she did not, she,
Did she?
correct, she did not maintain a residence here. Right. So that's the difference. If she had maintained her residency here and her, maintained her home here, it would be a different story, I think. But this one, she
Yeah,
left,
We had
completely
one,
left.
in 24 where the person left for a specific treatment for a medical
Yes.
condition and their treatment. And it was a, I don't know, 12 or 16-week treatment that put them in this window of not being there, but they would come back to
The same address.
the same home. And so the guidance from the state was there was never their intent to move. It was an extended stay type of situation. And I think they follow that same guideline with college students. That's why they allow them to live 9 months on the campus, but vote where they live. So this one, that's where you
Yeah,
come in.
She did not maintain a domicile here, so I don't see a reason to approve it, unfortunately.
Because of the difference of address.
Correct. I have known other people who moved out of the county and bought a house somewhere else, and a year later, they sold that house and they came back here. So I don't, we wouldn't approve them either.
Yeah. And typically someone wouldn't maintain that registration, but in this case, again, she kind of just fell through. She didn't report that she left and she didn't register someone else, so it didn't come back to us that way.
So she remained registered due to inadvertence.
It kind of feels that way. Had she had mail forwarded, maybe we would have picked it up at the next list maintenance, but it just, the timeline.
She probably didn't change her driver's license address or anything.
So nothing
So
to really
what do you
prompt.
all think? It's not, John?
Tough call, but I would be inclined to go ahead and deny.
Okay. Karen?
Well, I think under the technical rules, she is not qualified to vote here on the provisional basis. But I would like to just remind the board that the question of domicile and residency has to be examined in accordance with what our statewide determiners are for domicile and residency, because they are not different for voting than for paying taxes and doing other things. But we have addressed the appropriate evidence of intent to change domicile, which is not returning to the prior residential location. So
So
I'd
your
have to say
decision is,
denied.
all right.
Yeah.
Randy?
Yeah, I don't think there's enough information for really determining full intent, so that on that basis, I deny.
Tammy?
I concur. I don't think that she maintained the residence that she should have for it to be approved, so tonight.
Okay.
I think we just feel bad because, you know, we've all been in the situation where you go off to care for someone and sometimes these address issues and other things fall through the cracks, but rules are the rules.
Okay, so we don't have any changes. On the 16 that were approved, is there a motion to scan them into the tabulator?
I move that we approve the 16 provisional ballots which have been reviewed and meet the qualifications for being voted.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Now, as to the 38 not approved, is there a motion to agree that the 38 are justifiably not approved and should not be processed? You can insert your own language here. I need a motion, please. Anyone?
I would move that the 38 individuals who have been determined by staff review to not qualify to vote, that their votes should be denied.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
I'll take Tammy.
Yep.
Any further discussion or questions about these 38? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. So,
I will get you guys the letter openers.
the 38 just get filed away, never to be opened, correct?
That's correct.
I did count to verify the word.
Thank you.
There's 8 for you
They
two
are
to
subject
open.
to public records request of the envelopes. The ballot. So, let's spread out the-
Sure.
I will say though, that, there's a potential that the vote, that the chief did not write the voter precinct on that, so,
Right, so we need to
have
check
Yes.
as they come out.
So. Do you understand that? When you pull it out, make sure the precinct is on.
So Randy, if you want to pull it and keep it, I can check, or I can check with you, we can do it together.
Would you prefer I leave it in the envelope?
Well,
Make sure when you take them out that you look
because
at the
the
ballot
reason for you
top.
pulling it is so that you don't see who that one of you doesn't see who, you know what I mean? So that one is good.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we must put-
Just make sure that it has the correct, that it is
So-
marked provisional and that it is assigned to its
That's
correct
good, that's bad.
precinct.
Okay, so I would check that right here.
Yes, and that might be wrong. So I would look at,
Okay, good.
That's what I'm saying. What do you want me
yeah,
to compare to?
I would compare
Oh,
it to
you got the
this.
ballots. Oh, you keep the
Okay.
ballots upside down.
Or you can compare it, There.
Okay, to
All
the
right.
bottom.
yes. One of these has a note on it, and it might not even be this batch, that they forgot to mark the ballot. And that came out of Nag's Head.
As long as it says that, and then I'll take this.
far.
I tried to do it just on the counter.
And I have to initial these envelopes
I'm not
too.
responsible for blood.
Okay, so this is the one that's unmarked.
Okay.
Do not remove the staple in any circumstance.
Oh, then there are two, because this came out of Collington, I think.
That's what it says here.
Yeah,
Okay.
so do you
This one
want us
does
to
not.
mark it?
Yes,
All
but
right.
y'all really aren't supposed to be inspecting the envelope and the ballot because then it allows you to see the person how they voted.
Well,
Which is
then
why
how
you're
do we
doing it.
And
know?
how are we to verify?
Yeah, so I probably should. Which ballot did this come out of?
This one.
Okay, so let me take this and.
I mean, we're just looking at the top. Or maybe I could look at the envelope and you could look at that.
Okay, so what are you supposed to
Verify
do?
whether or not the precinct is there.
You're just verifying if it's there. You're not checking behind the,
Oh, because they moved. Yeah, that's right.
If it says the precinct is there, then you don't need to verify anything.
So what,
It's fine.
so that one,
It's my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
No, but it, as long as. something's
Provisional
marked.
I was shouting out about
is
the motion. so
there,
I
so that was in there, so I would just,
Conversation.
I know.
Yeah, she just doesn't, yeah, that look at this and look at that, she just wants you to look at the ballot and see if it's there.
Since I didn't recognize
They
any
did pretty
names,
good.
I'm not really curious.
They've really been working on that, so.
Aren't they just putting P and the home
Voters
precinct?
The
Yeah.
voters precinct.
Not the poll book numbers and all this other
No,
stuff
and
that's
I,
here. Yeah.
think
Let me
it's-
have the envelopes back.
So, while you're finishing up, I'm gonna go ahead and open the tabulator.
Yeah, there were 8. I handed you 8. So if she put a stray one in there, you should have 9. There should only be 16 total.
Scissors.
I have a,
So am I just initialing? Do I have to
Yeah.
put the ballot style for duplication?
No, because we didn't do any of those. You're
All right.
just, and then marking them approved.
So fully counted. They're all fully counted.
Yes,
correct?
those. And then the other ones, you'll go back and do those as well, the 38. Um, So it's just showing the board the empty bin. So the public count is 0. If anyone wants to inspect the 0 tape, you are welcome to.
Are we bringing the ballot for this?
You can if you're ready.
Count them and make sure there are 16.
And the board will sign the 0 and the results, but you can do that at one time if you want, since we're closing the polls.
0. Here's the.
Do I need to initial the not approved?
Got it?
Got it.
Kelly, so on these, I'm checking not counted and initial.
Public count is 16.
Okay. Public count is 16, so we are going to close the polls. I'll just do 2 results. So I will let you take that if you want to, and you can sign up there. I'm going to remove the thumb drive because the results have to be uploaded, and these will be added to the current results.
Do you want us to verify your tags?
Yes. I don't have I just have a seal that will go on the ballot
Mm.
because there's nothing in the tabulator now. So the only thing that there's a sheet that I can pass up to you guys, and I'll lock it in front of you. then sign it, and you pass it down, everyone can check and sign it, everything. And then we'll slip it in here.
Where you want the seal from?
Anywhere is fine.
Just two is what here. Just two spaces.
Yes, there's one extra something, but there should be two results. Yeah, it's just, there's a lot of different reports that come out. If there's the third, yes, sure. There's a 0 and 2 results.
So this is a.
But there's a 0 and there could be something in the middle. That's,
And this is the provisional tabulator.
yes. Yeah, so, and there is a 0, so it's technically at least 3 places. So the next meeting is Tuesday at 10 a.m. That's our sample audit. Kill Devil Hills and Southern Shores, Election Day. They're kind of hefty.
Is that random or how is that chosen?
It's random. The state does a draw and then they put it on a spreadsheet for us.
I'm going
I'll straighten it out. You get a blow, and you get a blow.
So do you want to talk about canceling the pre-canvas meeting?
We can.
I don't know if we'll have any. So Thursday at 5 p.m. is the deadline for Uwakava ballots to come in through the mail. So I guess there's technically a possibility, albeit I think pretty slim. But I don't know why we couldn't also run them at Canvas.
There's no statutory prohibition. is there?
I don't know. I know that we have had to do a provisional at Canvas one time. That's also when you do challenges. So, I mean, if it were to come in,
Can we do
so we could also meet and adjourn, thank you. If there are none. Because the meeting's at 5 and the deadline is 5. So there's no
Grace.
I don't see any
canceling.
way around it, I guess we have to.
5-0. Yeah.
Zero take. One results take, two results takes. So we can't really discuss canceling that meeting. We've got to come in here no matter what, just in case, right?
Unless if something comes in, we can do it at Canvas. So I can find that out and let you know on Tuesday.
Okay.
Because if so, then we can skip at least one day of the 5 o'clock meeting.
They'll follow and we can have our regular schedule.
Unless you choose to cancel it. Yes, that's correct. It would be the 17th at 10.
We'll take that up next week.
Right, because if there happens to be something, protests, recounts, all kinds of things, we would want to be available.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I haven't heard anything. You haven't either, have you? The numbers are looking marginally.
I don't think we have anything that's close enough to be at issue, and I just don't see it coming. It doesn't mean it won't, but
Right.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm leaning that way too, which is great.
And we are fortunate that that's the case.
So show up at 5.
Plan 2 on, but
Not far from it, no.
yeah, but I'll try to find out in the event that we did get something, why couldn't it be done at
Mhm.
Canvas?
And if it can
It's an
be,
hour for.
Because all kinds
Yeah.
of things get done at Canvas, all sorts of things. That's your like last chance. And you just go,
do you want us to do a motion that cancels it unless,
let's wait till Tuesday. If
Okay.
there'll be a forum here on Tuesday, then you can do it then.
okay,
And we've got good information.
all right, fine by me.
Okay.
Oh, here, John. Here. You give this to Kelly too. Ugh. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you.
All right, does anybody have anything that they'd like to bring up? All right, our next meeting is at 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning for the hand-eye count, which should take a while because it's 2 large precincts and 2 separate races that have to be done, the top 2 races, the Senate races. Okay? So just be prepared. Any questions about that? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. I'll see you guys Tuesday.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
4 p.m.
Yep,
Adjourned at a time.
yep. We are adjourned at 4 p.m.
It'll take more than 3 hours. Probably.
It's
They
possible.
call out each of the votes individually.
Yeah,
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.